Hearts and Conflict. Chapter 1. A Collision of Worlds. The night was alive with the hum of the city, a symphony of sirens, distant laughter, and the occasional crackle of electricity from the neon signs that lit up the streets. Ethan Steele, known to the world as the Silver Sentinel, soared above it all, his silver cape billowing behind him like a banner of hope. He had always felt at home in the sky, where the weight of his responsibilities felt lighter, and the stars seemed to whisper secrets only he could hear. But tonight was different. A sense of foreboding hung in the air, thick and heavy, as if the city itself held its breath. He had received word of a heist in progress at the prestigious Voss Gallery, a place known for its priceless artifacts and the elite clientele that frequented it. Ethan's heart raced, not just from the thrill of the chase, but from the knowledge that the infamous Shadow Siren was rumored to be behind it. Lila Voss was a name that sent shivers down the spines of the city's elite. With her dark hair and piercing blue eyes, she was both captivating and dangerous. Ethan had crossed paths with her before, and each encounter left him more intrigued than the last. She was a master of deception, using her powers to bend shadows to her will, but there was something about her that stirred a longing within him, a desire to understand the woman behind the mask. As he approached the gallery, he spotted her. Lila stood in the center of the room, her silhouette framed by the flickering lights. The shadows danced around her, swirling like a dark mist as she deftly pocketed a priceless diamond. Ethan's heart raced, not just from the thrill of the chase, but from the undeniable pull he felt toward her. "Shadow Siren," he called out, his voice echoing through the gallery. "You're under arrest." Lila turned, a smirk playing on her lips. Silver Sentinel. Always the hero. But sometimes the line between right and wrong isn't as clear as you think. Before he could respond, the ground beneath them trembled. A sudden explosion rocked the gallery, sending debris flying. In an instant, the room was plunged into chaos. Ethan's instincts kicked in, and he lunged toward Lila, grabbing her wrist just as the ceiling began to collapse. "Hold on," he shouted, pulling her close as they both took to the air. They soared above the wreckage, the world below them a blur of dust and panic. As they ascended, he felt her body tense against his, but there was something else, an undeniable spark that ignited between them. "Why did you save me?" Lila asked, her voice a mixture of surprise and something deeper, something that made Ethan's heart skip a beat. "Because I couldn't let you die," he replied, his eyes locking onto hers. In that moment, suspended in the air, the hero and the villainess were no longer defined by their roles. They were simply two souls caught in a whirlwind of fate. As they landed safely on a rooftop, the chaos of the gallery fading into the distance, Ethan felt a rush of emotions. He had saved her, but what did that mean for them? In the shadows of the night, amidst the flickering city lights, a connection had been forged, one that would challenge everything they believed about themselves and each other. Chapter 2. Shadows and Secrets. Days turned into nights, and the memory of their encounter lingered in Ethan's mind. He found himself patrolling the city with a renewed sense of purpose, yet his thoughts often drifted to Lila. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her than met the eye. Meanwhile, Lila was grappling with her own turmoil. The heist at the gallery had been a part of a larger plan to expose the corruption of the city's elite, but her encounter with Silver Sentinel had left her questioning her motives. She had always seen herself as a force of justice, albeit from the shadows, but Ethan's unwavering morality had struck a chord within her. Their paths crossed again one fateful night. Ethan was investigating a series of mysterious disappearances when he stumbled upon Lila in an abandoned warehouse. She was surrounded by a group of thugs, her powers flickering as she fought them off. "Need a hand?" Ethan called out, swooping down to join the fray. Lila's eyes widened in surprise, but she quickly regained her composure. "I had it under control," she replied, her tone laced with defiance. Together, they made quick work of the thugs, their movements synchronized as if they had been partners for years. Once the dust settled, they stood facing each other, the tension between them palpable. Why are you really here, Lila? Ethan asked, his voice gentle yet probing. Lila hesitated, her gaze dropping to the ground. I'm trying to stop something bigger than both of us, she admitted. There's a new player in town, someone who's pulling the strings from the shadows. I don't know who they are, but they're dangerous. Ethan's eyes softened. Then let's find them together, he suggested. We can do more good as allies than as enemies. Lila's heart skipped a beat at his words. She had always worked alone, trusting no one but herself. But there was something about Ethan's sincerity that made her want to believe in him. All right, she agreed, a small smile tugging at her lips. But don't think for a second that I'm going soft. Ethan chuckled. Wouldn't dream of it. Chapter 3. Unlikely Allies. As they delved deeper into the mystery, Ethan and Lila found themselves growing closer. Their late-night stakeouts turned into conversations about their pasts, their fears, and their dreams. Ethan learned that Lila had lost her family to a corrupt businessman, fueling her desire for vengeance. In turn, Lila discovered that Ethan had once been a victim of the very crime he now fought against, giving him a personal stake in his mission. Their partnership was not without its challenges. Lila's methods were often ruthless, and Ethan struggled to reconcile his principles with the necessity of their actions. But despite their differences, they found a balance, each pushing the other to be better. One evening, as they sat on a rooftop overlooking the city, Ethan turned to Lila with a thoughtful expression. Do you ever wonder what it would be like to live a normal life? He asked. Lila sighed, her eyes distant. Sometimes. But I don't think people like us are meant for normal lives. We're too wrapped up in this world of shadows and secrets. Ethan reached out, gently taking her hand. Maybe we can find a way to have both, he suggested. To be heroes in the light and still find happiness in the darkness. Lila's heart swelled at his words. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to hope for a future beyond her quest for vengeance. Maybe, she whispered, squeezing his hand. Chapter 4. The Enemy Revealed. Their investigation eventually led them to a shocking revelation. The new villain in town was none other than Victor Kane, a powerful businessman with ties to both the criminal underworld and the city's elite. He had been orchestrating the disappearances and manipulating events from behind the scenes, all in a bid to consolidate his power. Confronting Kane would not be easy. He had an army of loyal henchmen and a network of influence that reached into the highest echelons of society. But Ethan and Lila were determined to bring him down, no matter the cost. As they prepared for the final showdown, they shared a quiet moment together. Whatever happens, I want you to know that I believe in you, Ethan said, his voice filled with conviction. Lila's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. And I believe in us, she replied, her heart full of love and determination. Chapter 5. The Battle for the City. The battle against Victor Kane was fierce and relentless. Ethan and Lila fought side by side, their powers complementing each other in a dance of light and shadow. The city itself seemed to hold its breath as the fate of its people hung in the balance. In the heat of the battle, Lila was captured by Kane's men. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest as he fought his way through the chaos to reach her. He found her bound and bruised, but her spirit remained unbroken. Ethan, she whispered, her voice filled with pain and resolve. You have to stop him. Don't worry about me. But Ethan couldn't leave her behind. With a surge of strength, he broke her chains and lifted her into his arms. We're in this together, he vowed, his eyes blazing with determination. Together, they confronted Victor Kane in his lair. The final battle was a blur of power and fury, but in the end, they emerged victorious. Kane was defeated, his empire crumbling around him. Chapter 6. A New Beginning. With the city safe once more, Ethan and Lila stood on a rooftop, watching the sunrise. The light of dawn painted the sky in hues of gold and pink, a symbol of hope and new beginnings. What now? Lila asked, her voice soft and uncertain. Ethan smiled, pulling her close. Now we build a future together, he replied. A future where we can be both heroes and lovers. Lila's heart swelled with love and gratitude. For the first time in her life, she felt truly free. "I like the sound of that," she said, leaning into his embrace. As the sun rose higher, casting its warm light over the city, Ethan and Lila knew that their journey was just beginning. They had faced the darkness together and emerged stronger, their love a beacon of hope in a world of shadows. And so, the Silver Sentinel and the Shadow Siren became legends, their love story a testament to the power of hope, redemption, and the belief that even in the darkest of times, love can light the way. Chapter 7. The Calm Before the Storm. With Victor Kane's defeat, the city began to heal. Ethan and Lila worked tirelessly to rebuild trust and restore peace. They became a symbol of unity, showing that even the most unlikely alliances could achieve greatness. Their relationship blossomed amidst the chaos. They found solace in each other's arms, sharing quiet moments away from the prying eyes of the world. Ethan's apartment became their sanctuary, a place where they could be themselves without the weight of their alter egos. One evening, as they sat on the balcony, watching the city lights twinkle below, Ethan turned to Lila with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking," he began, his voice soft. "Maybe it's time we took a break from all this. Just for a little while." Lila raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" Ethan smiled, taking her hand in his. "Let's go somewhere. Just the two of us. No capes, no masks. Just Ethan and Lila." Lila's heart fluttered at the idea. It was a chance to escape the shadows, even if only for a short time. "I think I'd like that," she replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Chapter 8. A Taste of Normalcy. Ethan and Lila decided to take a trip to a small coastal town, far from the bustling city. It was a place where they could blend in, where no one knew their names or their secrets. For the first time in years, they experienced a taste of normalcy. They walked along the beach, hand in hand, the salty breeze ruffling their hair. They explored quaint shops, enjoyed local cuisine, and laughed together without a care in the world. One evening, as they watched the sunset from a secluded cove, Ethan turned to Lila with a serious expression. "I've been thinking a lot about our future," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "I know our lives are complicated, but I want to build something real with you. I want us to have a life together." Lila's heart swelled with love and hope. She had never dared to dream of a future like this, but with Ethan, anything seemed possible. "I want that too," she whispered, her eyes shining with tears. Ethan leaned in, capturing her lips in a tender kiss. In that moment, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Chapter 9. The Return to Reality. Their idyllic escape couldn't last forever. Duty called them back to the city, where new threats and challenges awaited. But their time away had strengthened their bond, giving them the resolve to face whatever came their way. Upon their return, they discovered that a new villain had emerged, seeking to fill the power vacuum left by Victor Kane. This new adversary, known as the Phantom, was a master of manipulation and deception, with a personal vendetta against both Ethan and Lila. The Phantom's attacks were relentless, targeting the people they cared about and threatening to unravel everything they had built. Ethan and Lila found themselves pushed to their limits, their love tested in ways they had never imagined. Chapter 10. The Final Showdown. The Phantom's ultimate plan was to destroy the city and take down Ethan and Lila in the process. He orchestrated a series of devastating attacks, plunging the city into chaos and fear. Ethan and Lila knew that they had to stop him, no matter the cost. They rallied their allies, including fellow heroes and reformed villains, to mount a final assault against the Phantom's stronghold. The battle was fierce and brutal, with lives hanging in the balance. Ethan and Lila fought side by side, their love and determination driving them forward. They faced the Phantom in a climactic showdown, their powers and skills pushed to the brink. In the end, it was their unwavering bond that gave them the strength to prevail. With a final, decisive blow, they defeated the Phantom, saving the city from destruction. Chapter 11. A New Dawn. With the Phantom defeated, the city began to rebuild once more. Ethan and Lila emerged as true heroes, their love story inspiring hope and unity among the people. They continued to fight for justice, but they also made time for each other, cherishing the moments of peace and happiness they had fought so hard to protect. One evening, as they stood on a rooftop, watching the city lights below, Ethan turned to Lila with a smile. "We've been through so much together," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "But I wouldn't trade it for anything." Lila's eyes shimmered with tears of joy. "Neither would I," she replied, leaning into his embrace. "We've built something beautiful, something worth fighting for." As the stars twinkled above, Ethan and Lila knew that their journey was far from over. But with each other by their side, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And so, the Silver Sentinel and the Shadow Siren continued their legacy, their love story a beacon of hope and strength in a
Subscribe
world of
for
shadows
more.
and light.